What's up? We are back with another episode of the Adventures in Adversity podcast. I am super stoked to be here yet again, and I'm wearing a very special shirt. We're going to talk about this shirt, Davini, in all kinds of ways. Welcome back. If you have been watching for a while, thank you so much for tuning in again. Whether you're coming through YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, always appreciate it. If you are brand new here, and you might be a friend of my guests, hopefully, I'm sure a bunch of her friends are going to tune in. Thank you so much. This is a podcast essentially where real people tell true stories about how they have turned any kind of adversity in their life into an adventure. You know, we're all facing obstacles of different types and sizes and different times. So I am honored, always honored when someone agrees to sit down and talk to me. So, with that, I am going to introduce my next guest, Myranda Young. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. I'm honestly so excited.
I know we're both like grinning, like
Yeah.
grin, like um, because I think we have a really cool connection that has in the last couple months has materialized from my producer and your podcast producer,
Mhm.
Julian Jack, aka Julio Iglesias, Jack Efron, DJ Jack, my former student from 20 years ago when I was a teacher. I'm 400 years old, so I was 25. He was in seventh grade, middle school math and science. Just really cool year in Arizona. And then we reconnected via Facebook, and here we are.
Wow.
And let's talk about you now. So I know you because Julian Jack introduced me to you
Mhm.
and Davini.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm gonna
So,
let you talk now. Yeah.
yeah, well, I know Jack. I know him as Jack. First of all,
You know,
I
it's
did
so
not
weird
know.
when I say Julian. You're like, who are you?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know his name was Julian for like maybe a year into when we were working, and he like asked me to start zelling him or something. And so his
Okay.
like real government name came up.
So I didn't
And
expose his
so
true identity. You already knew.
yeah, and so I was
Okay.
like, "Why didn't you ever tell me your name was Julian?" Like, I didn't know that was never your name. Anyway, so I thought that was super funny, and now I know if you've known him for 20 plus years that he is Julian.
Julian.
Um, but I call him Jack, whatever. Sometimes I call him King Julian, like from Madagascar. But I met him about 2 years ago, 2 years
Okay.
ago in some months, when I was making music. And he is my second producer that I've ever worked with. And so from the time of 2 years ago to now, we've probably made close to like 15 to 20 songs together. And he's really helped me develop as an artist and has given me some incredible insight in the industry since he has had some experiences in the industry. He honestly is one of my best friends, like a brother to me. I can text him about anything. He's given me some crazy advice. He's scolded me on things that I do that are dumb. But he's been there with me through some of the craziest moments of my life and seen me throughout these last 2 years transform into who I am today. And even when I started working for Divini. So, Divini, which is the shirt that she's wearing, is the honey kombucha brand that I work with. And I came on as their social media manager about 6 months ago. I actually met the Divini boys, so the two co-founders. I met them at an event that Jack had invited me to, which was like a coffee shop kind of DJ vibe.
Which I see
Yeah.
now. Oh, it looks
Hmm.
so cool, by the way.
And he had gone to support one of the artists that he was working with, and he invited me to come out. And I was like, I'm not doing anything this Saturday morning. Like,
Yeah.
sure. And so we were there just chilling, and this guy comes up to us and he's like, "Hey, like, I'm trying to do some interviews. Like, do you know anybody that would be interested in doing interviews for this brand, which was called Minaragua?" And it's actually that it's a sister brand of that soda brand Jarritos. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like super popular. They're in the glass bottles and they're like super
Is it like
colorful. It's like a
orange?
Mexican brand.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he is an ambassador. I don't know if he works for their social media, but he was out there doing like interviews with people. And so Jack tells the guy, he's like, well, this is my client. Like, she has a podcast. Like, if you need someone to run the interviews, she
Yeah.
can do it. And I was like, oh, yeah, like I'm down for it. So he
Great.
hands me the microphone and we just start interviewing people. And it was super fun, just like super random. And we were interviewing one last person and the guy was like, here, you can just choose like whoever you want to
Yeah.
interview. And I was like, okay, cool. And so as I'm like looking around the room, I see this one guy walk in and I was like, we should interview him because he just like looked like swaggy. I don't know. That's a horrible word,
Like
but
energy. Some.
yes, like the energy was like there. And so I like walk up to him and I'm like, hey, like we're doing interviews. Would you like to be in an interview? And he's like, okay, sure. So we walk outside. And as we're walking out, then his friend comes up, which turns out to be his business partner. And I was like, well, what are you guys doing out here? Like, who are you? And they're like, oh, we have a kombucha brand. And I was like, what? No way. Like, I love kombucha. And it was crazy because I had before I met them drank
Love.
kombucha like every single day. But
Really?
my thing was that like I didn't love the way that it tasted, but I drank it for its like health properties. And so I was like, this is awesome. Like I'd love to try your guys' kombucha.
Yeah.
So we ended up exchanging information. We met up, I think like that same week. I went to their house, which was called like the Divinity headquarters. It was this insane like loft kind of
Fun.
studio, like huge
Energy.
place
Good
that like
energy.
five
Yeah.
people lived in.
Yeah.
And it was just so amazing. And we tried the kombucha for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like it's actually the best tasting kombucha I've ever had. So I just became extremely passionate about what they were doing, and we became closer. And a couple months down the line, I was like, I was, kind of going to events with them and I was like, I'll start filming TikToks for you guys. Like, your TikTok sucks. And so they were like, okay, like do whatever you want. So I started filming TikToks for them and I would just kind of
They're like,
send it and be
I
like,
like you.
yeah. And I was like, if you like them, you can post them. I don't care. But like, I think, I know TikTok pretty well. So I'd love to, as a friend,
Yeah.
just do this for you guys. And so a couple months into me doing that, they like sat me down one day and they were like, we want to bring you on. Like, they had told me, we want Divinity to be your top priority. Like, we want to bring you on and we want you to put Divinity in front of everything else. And I was like, done. Like, sign the contract.
What a nice, I mean, not only from a business perspective, but what a nice way to like say that to somebody. Like, we want your time and attention because you're so good at it.
Yeah, and I mean I was like just smiling ear to ear because
Yeah.
before that my life was like completely different. So it felt like this was finally an opening into where like I felt passionate about what I was doing and like and in a sense I felt extremely valuable as well cuz I hadn't felt that way in a long time. So it was
Yeah.
amazing to step into this role with people that I felt valued me and cared about me. So it's been great ever since.
That's the dream, right? Like, work for a company where the people value you, care about you, align with you, and then you believe in a product that you enjoy. Like, has
Absolutely.
health benefits to help other people.
Yeah, it's
Like,
so it at the core it's very um I would say it is very built up by God for sure because it is a very positive thing that we're trying to do for people and all three of us are very God-centered as well, which is just absolutely
I
amazing.
didn't know all. Okay, this is so. As I say, God has a sense of humor. He's like, "Hey,
Right, right. Yeah,
there's gonna
absolutely.
be God-centered, awesome kombucha tea." I'd be like, "Of all the spot, okay, all right, makes sense." Like, I told you I was working this. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so many things. So our connection. I love that we are connected through like a cool story like that, and through shout out to Jack for always thinking of people and making connections and saying you should talk to them. You two would connect. He's like a connector. that
He
way.
is a networker for sure.
Yeah, and, like, I was able to interview his dad about
His dad
being a
is awesome.
and, like, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I never met you because during that time when I was Julian's teacher, you were just, undercover detective protecting us in Arizona." I was like, "Thanks for that, that I was safe for that year. Appreciate it."
Like, insane.
Yeah, so all these connections. So that is how we connected, right? Divinity, which we're gonna
Mhm,
kind of I think it's gonna be the connection. We'll talk about Divinity throughout the episode just because I'm excited. I feel honored to be like an ambassador for Divinity. I love the concept of like the storytelling that Divinity features, and you've done a great job on that with like the social media of telling the story about
mhm,
Divinity and how their founders went through adversity with health issues,
mhm.
acne. This is a quality product, tastes good, that like has a heart led mission to help people
Absolutely.
feel
Yeah.
better, right? So I
Mhm,
love that, and I love that I didn't even when I signed on that we were partnering and like you
mhm.
sent me this beautiful shirt and all that. I didn't know all of that. So it's really
Yeah.
interesting. We're going to talk about your faith journey.
Mhm.
Didn't know all of this. So it's really cool.
I'm
But
glad you know now, especially being part of our crew.
just like, wow, it just keeps happening where I'm like, no way. No way. I didn't even mean to talk about God with you guys. And here we are. Now you brought it. I'm like, wait, what? Um,
I love
So I'm going to brag about you right now, which
oh,
I always, and I tell my guests, I love doing this, having someone talk about you and how awesome you are while you're on camera. And you just have to kind of sit there and then we'll
yay.
talk about it. So, Miranda Young, I'm going to put all of your info in the show notes, of course, so people can follow you, get to know you, all the things. So, you are a singer, songwriter, performer. You are
Yes.
doing many things. You are also obviously working for Divini, Honey Kombucha Tea, running their social media, helping shape like that vision, which is super cool.
Mhm.
Tell me, and then we're going to get to the faith journey. That's coming up in a few minutes. Tell me about the performer side of you. How did
Mm.
that, have you always known you love to sing? And I listened to UFO, by the way.
Ooh, my latest song,
Played it while I
fun.
was doing my makeup. I was like, yeah, I love it. And I'm only just practicing the service, but like I was like, hey, I can get down to this right now.
Yeah. Oh my God, this like one of my favorite performing has been one of my favorite things since I was a teenager.
Okay.
Um, I am from so right now where I'm recording this podcast, I'm actually in Alabama. I live in Phoenix, but this is where my family is from. My dad was born here, and so I come from a very talented group of people, which I love to thank like my grandmother for just these genes of like being vocally talented. And I didn't start to discover that until I was like maybe 14, 15. Like maybe between the ages of like 13 to 15 is when I would like sing and I'd be like, do I sing good? Like I would
Good.
really would just like sit in my room and be like, okay, I feel like I can kind of sing. And so um,
Ah,
I was playing softball for like 7 years from like fourth
yeah,
grade to high
yeah.
school, my freshman year of high school. But that freshman year, I had met like a couple girls and they were in show choir and they would like tell me about it and like what they would do. And I was like, bro, that's so cool. I love the sounds of that because I never really was involved in anything like musical. And so I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm
Ah,
going to go to your guys' show. And I would check it out. And like, I fell in love with it. It was basically Glee. Like, if you've ever seen Glee,
I
it was
love
exactly
it.
that.
I love it. I love it.
No,
Yes.
it's like the best show ever. So it was Glee in
Yeah.
real life. And so they were holding auditions for my sophomore year. And I was like, I'm just going to try. And like, I remember I was shaking. Like, my hands were shaking, my knees were
Sweating
shaking,
all the things.
literally. And I got up there and I just sang. And then I ended up making it on the team, which was not like, it wasn't like, oh my God, we're super elite. Like, no,
It's a
not
big
everyone's
deal
going to
for
make
you
it.
and for anything to face that fear and like go through
Yeah.
it anyway.
Mhm. So I did, I got on, and then, my sophomore year, I, like, started getting into it, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, I really like this," and that's when I started, like, really get into singing, and it was, like, singing and dancing, so this is, I feel like, the pivotal years of what kinda shaped me to be the performer that I am today, because it was, like, we would have to have facials, and we would have to dance and sing at the same time, and like how do you manage that, like you know, literally all of it. And so I fell in love with it. It took me into musical theater. I started doing some musical theater, so I kind of now had like acting behind it as well, and just like the whole performance of it all. And ultimately I fell in love with just entertaining and putting on a show. And so I kind of built that up there. I learned how to dance. I could not dance when I first started. Like I was horrible at it, but over the next couple years, like because I fell in love with it, I put everything into
Train.
it, and
Yeah.
I became pretty good at it. We would go around and like compete as well. So like our team would go and we'd compete at like different competitions and stuff, and like that also put a little bit of pressure on us to make you want to be better, because it's like now we're, you know, competing for a trophy. And
Yeah.
so I have like this little competitiveness and like this little performance aspect to me. And so I ended up doing like some musicals after high school when I graduated and stuff, but like
In
never like anything. What was
Alabama.
that?
In Alabama.
No, in San Diego. So I
And
was born in San Diego. Yeah,
born
and
in
that's
San
where I grew
Diego.
up.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I ended up doing some stuff like that. And then after a while, I would just literally sing for fun, like in my room and on TikTok. I would make like TikToks of me singing. I would go on TikTok live and sing and stuff. And then that was like a couple years down the line. I ended up meeting my first producer, started
Uh-huh.
making music, wasn't like super in love with what we were making, but also I was super new to it. So I didn't really know like anything about the music industry, but something about it just wasn't clicking with me. I was like, I don't love what I'm doing. I don't love the shows that I'm performing at. It's not really my audience or my vibe. And then that's when I met Jack, and like complete 180, started making the music that I like to make, started
Mm,
working with a songwriter that liked the music that I liked so we could make music that I actually
right.
liked.
Like really create
Mhm.
together.
Exactly. So it was just amazing. I always think back to just those moments when it's me, Jack, and Maddie, our songwriter, just in the studio, like feeling the chemistry of the things that we're making, and it's super exciting. So I've done like a couple performances here and there. I definitely feel like God has been guiding this musical journey, because I don't think my talent would ever be put to waste, especially since the Lord knows how much I do love it. And I mean, it's a God given talent, of course. So
Right.
He'll put
Like,
it to work when it needs to be put to work.
you know what's funny? Like you say it's I heard something that God um God your talent or whatever, you know, everyone has that one thing. Maybe they haven't found it yet, but they're like, gosh,
Mm.
you're so good at that. Like
Yeah.
it seems so hard for someone else. And you're like, how do you just do that?
Hmm.
That God gives you that gift, and then that's his gift to you, and then what you do with it is your gift back to him.
Wait, I love
And
that.
I was like, you're like, oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm gonna here. And then he's like, oh, like it's I was like, oh, and everyone's is different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get a specific one, I feel that you do.
Hmm.
And some people I think are like, oh, but I don't have that one. And it's like, well, that's not yours. Like you have a
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so special. I've
different.
never even thought about it like that.
I
So I
just
love
like
that.
that just triggered. I'm like, wait, someone told me that in like a Bible study.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
And
I'm
he
like,
probably loves to watch us use our gifts too. Well, I know he does love to watch us use our gifts.
totally. So tell me, okay. And God's like, hey, talk about me now. You've been delaying the rest of the episode. So was as you were like performing, right?
Mhm.
What did God show up early in your life? And I'm gonna let you continue your story, or was that sort of later on?
So I had been going to church as like a young kid. I think I
Okay,
remember I mean, I grew up in a Catholic church, and
same.
so I was like first Holy Communion.
Oh yeah,
like confirmation, stuff like
Yep.
that. But like I just never really had a connection with God in those moments because I was so young, and it was also taught to me in like a very like school like
It's
type of
grand. It's like,
Mhm.
hmm,
Yeah, and I also grew up, so I'm like Mexican and also black and I'm mixed, and so I grew up
okay.
speaking Spanish. And so I'd go to like Catholic church and it would be in Spanish, and it's like half the time I didn't even know what they were saying, and like so I just didn't have that connection with God, and it just felt like I'm just here like, doing what a kid's supposed to do, and like that's fine. And kind of later over the next couple years, once I was like in third grade, I remember my mom started going to like a non-denominational Christian church, and I would go to like the youth group, and like I'd get along with the kids, and like, it was fun, but like I still never really had that connection with God. And it was like I just didn't understand it. Like it was really hard for me to like grasp the concept of like what who God is, and like at the same time related to the Bible. Like I didn't really understand the Bible either. I was like, what even is this thing? And so for the next, decade of my life until I was 18, I would just go to this church cuz my mom told me to get up on Sundays and go to church. And
Yeah.
like there was never really a connection with God. It was just, this is what you're supposed to do. And so after I turned 18 and I was able to make my own decisions, I stopped going to church. And like I had this like next couple years of battling with like, who is God? Like, is he even real? For a little bit I was like, there is no God, like, or I don't know what God is. And then I got into kind of this spiritual universe type of like vibe where I was like crystals and like
Tarot
angel
cards and this.
numbers.
Same with
Yes.
me. It's like, tell me about what's going to happen today.
Right, like, sidekicks and stuff like
Yes.
that, and so
Yeah.
all of that, and then so I kinda was just like a spiritual girly for a little bit, and then that kinda died down, and little by little, like, this was really only like a year or so ago, I, like, started feeling very called to, like, pray. Like, that was the first initial thing I remember was, like, just feeling called to start praying more. And so I was like, okay. So I would just kind of like be like, hey, God, like, I didn't know how to pray. Not that there is a right way to pray, but like I just felt called to like speak to him. And so I would, just pray more. And then eventually, this was about July of last year, or like between the months of like March and like July, my dad ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. And so like it was such a struggle because my dad lived over here, and so like I
Yeah.
just felt kind of alone during it.
Uh-huh.
And so like and I felt honestly helpless. And so that's when my prayer really started to like ignite, because I was like, just God, please, like,
Please
please
help me.
save my dad. Like, please just, be there for my dad. And
I'll never ask for anything again if you can just save my dad. That's
exactly,
my prayer.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so he ended up having surgery. He had bladder cancer, so he had his entire bladder removed. And so that night before his surgery, I was here and I was just praying, praying, praying. And like the morning we woke up, we went to the hospital. My one of my uncles is actually a pastor, and so we all got together and we just prayed over each other. And that's when it started to like click that I was feeling the spirit of God. Like I was like, okay, God is like, he's working. Like he's here, he's comforting us, like he's working in my life. I don't know much about him, but like I feel his presence. And so that really changed things for me, because it was like one of those moments where it was like, this is going to change my entire life whatever way it goes. Like if this doesn't go the way that I hope it does, like my life is going to change. And so I really just leaned on him, and I was like, I just need to pray to you, and I know that you're real now. I can feel you. So my dad ended up getting the surgery, being completely fine. He's now cancer free,
Oh,
which is absolutely amazing. Everything happened just in the most beautiful way that it could have. Like in this circumstance, like he's a VA, so he got his entire surgery paid for and was
Oh,
taken care of in the VA hospital, and now he has benefits, and everything is like extremely just provided by God's provision. And so the next couple months go on, and so little by little I'm like, okay, now I'm praying and like I'm feeling the spirit of God. And I remember one day I'm on the phone with my best friend, and I was like, dude, I don't know like what's going on, but like I've been praying more. And she goes, dude, me too. And so I was like,
no.
what?
Same
Like
here.
I was like, wait, are you like I think we
Are
just
you
kind of sat
serious?
there and I was like, what was that?
You're like, wait, you're going through the same type of feeling.
Yeah, exactly that. I was like, "Wait, so you're like feeling this too?" And she's like, "Yeah, like I've been praying and I don't know why." And I was like, "Me neither." And so we then started praying together. So we would like be with each other and we'd be like, "Let's just pray." I guess like literally in that way, like, "Let's
You're like, let
pray."
us pray, like Catholic, let us pray. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so we would pray, and then eventually she had gotten invited to a church that's like in Tempe by her cousin. And so her cousin was like, come to this church, like, if you want. And she's like, yeah, like I'll go to this church. And so she went. I was actually out of town. I think it was literally over Thanksgiving break, and so like a year
Like
from this
last
time.
year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she went to the church, and then she called me and she was like, dude, when you come back, like we have to go to this church. And I was like, okay. So I got back, I went to the church with her, and I was like, oh my God, like I love this church. Like it was filled with people our age. It was so welcoming. It didn't feel like I was being pressured into a religion. It more so just felt like being able to dwell with the Lord in this space with people that also want to dwell with him. The worship was like so beautiful. I remember the first couple months that I would go to church, I would just bawl like every time we would worship
Like,
because I just
"Darling."
yeah,
That was sad.
exactly. And come to
Same.
find out, it was just the Holy Spirit, at work in our lives and healing us from the inside and just being within us. And so we would go to church every Sunday. We started to fall in love with it. We started doing Bible study, and we really just became extremely consumed by like our faith and getting to know Jesus. And so a couple months later, we're sitting in the service, and then they announced that they're going to do baptisms on in like February. So this was literally only like 2 months later. And so we sat there and we like kind of looked at each other and we left the service, and I was like, I think I want to get baptized. And she
Yeah.
was like, I want to get baptized too. And so we're like, okay, amazing. So then the baptisms come, and we got baptized together. And like that day was just, we were standing on the side, waiting for our turn. And it was just the whole line of people. It was all people in their 20s, which I think was so special in
Oh,
itself, because it's like this revolution of young people turning to
yeah.
Jesus is so powerful right now. And God is doing something people in our generation. And so it was just all people in their 20s, and we're all lined up against the wall waiting for our turns, and we're just looking back at each other, and everybody's just sobbing crying like just sobbing crying, like so excited. And you'd go up in the tub or whatever, and they would baptize you, and the whole audience would just be cheering for every single person. And like it was so extremely magical and so holy and so beautiful. And so ever since then, like it has been a very beautiful journey with God. I can't say that, and everybody that is a Christian hopefully knows this. Like, you turn to God, it doesn't mean your life is going to be perfect
No,
and easy.
no.
Like, you think that maybe
You're
as a
like,
new Christian,
"You're getting baptized, sounds good, right? Like, we're done."
yeah.
We're
You're like,
this
everything's gonna be great now. Everything's awesome. And it's like you are tested more than you've ever thought to be
oh,
tested, you could have been tested. And like, you start to fall into sin, you fall into temptation, you feel guilt, you feel shame, but then you turn back to the Lord, and his grace and his glory is so redeeming that it is all worth it in the end. And like I always try to remind myself, we are all fallen. We were all born sinners. And it's like, we're not perfect, but in the
No.
eyes of the Lord, he has so much grace and glory for us. And so this past year has just been getting to know him and his grace and his glory. And also, important to me has been becoming more biblically literate, just getting to know his word and like
Yes.
being able to connect with him on that level of like, who are you? Like, what happened? Why are we here in this way? And so yeah, now every day, every Sunday we go to church, every
Yeah.
Thursday we do Bible study. And over these last couple months, it's like I've met more and more people that are just following Christ. And like, I just am so grateful that he is revealing himself at this time to people, because it didn't feel that way when we were 15 years old. So I know something is working and something is happening, and I'm just so blessed to be able to be a part of it.
You can feel like the way you talk about it too. Like you light up when you talk about it. And
Yeah.
it's so, thank you for sharing everything so candidly too, because I feel like I was raised Catholic too. And I just
Mm,
did an episode about how, I have reverence for all religions, like all like, you do you type of thing. And Catholicism is the foundation of like what I learned. But
mm,
I'm telling you, there's something about that you walk into a holy space like that and you
mhm.
can't, the music, I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know what I'm feeling, but when you find the right church that you connect with,
Hmm.
wow, these people are so nice. Like
Yeah, and
you
it's
feel a
welcoming.
genuine care,
Yeah, absolutely. That's
right?
exactly what we feel in our church. And like, I love them. Like they're really my family, which is amazing.
Yeah. And well, and like you said, it's funny, we have a very similar timeline because I got baptized. You got baptized in February?
Hmm.
Congratulations. I know
Thank you.
I'm saying congrats because I was just congratulated 3 weeks ago. I'm 3 weeks off my
Really?
baptism.
Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah.
congrats. Wait,
Thank
that's so
you.
amazing. 3 weeks? Wow.
3 weeks ago. Like I had like epiphanies on this retreat in April, and then I was like, wait, I'm Catholic. I don't need to. I had this thing where I was like, I don't need to go to like a new church. Like I don't fit in with that. Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
went to this retreat, and, like, you guys are the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. Oh, I'll sure, I'll go to your church. And I'm like, oh, look, more nice people. No,
Yeah.
oh, and like everybody's open about all these things people are going through, and nothing's like, oh, did you hear? They're just like, oh, so and so is going through this.
Right.
Can you pray for her? Oh, I think
Yeah.
they'll be back next week. Oh, great. Like, no gossipy, weird,
Right.
like
Right. Just
being open,
wholesome love.
open. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy for like you sharing your journey openly because I feel like especially being raised Catholic, I remember I felt, did you feel like you we felt I felt the same thing where I felt compelled to be baptized and I was like, wait, I was baptized already, but
Yeah.
I want to like there's something different and it's my choice.
Yeah, exactly that. It felt like it was my choice. It felt like it was on my own terms. That was my full intention when I went back to church and started getting to know God was this
Yeah.
is on my terms. Like this is my relationship with God, and I don't even really necessarily feel like I'm a
Oh,
part of a religion or
yeah.
like I'm like, I'm labeled in some sort of religion. It's just I believe in God. And that's when I felt like I wanted to get baptized was because I fully believe in Christ and I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to give my life to you because I know that you are real and you are working. And this just solidifies it. And now with being baptized, you are made new as like a believer of Christ and fully just convicted that he is working in our lives and he is our sovereign Lord.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you when you said you went through a spiritual phase, I did the same where then you went through
Right.
where I was like, I'm not really sure if there's anything, but like, I'll be nice to people and cool, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Things seem kind of shitty. Like, I'm not really sure about any of that stuff anyway. And then
Yeah.
if like you said, if you would have told me 20 years ago that I'd be like, no, you're not hosting a podcast where you're talking about God like 2 episodes in a row and like your faith journey. I'd be like, that's probably not you, but like maybe someone else. Like that's just not like your thing,
Yeah.
right? And
Right. No,
funny
I
how the
feel the same way
God
because
changes
we
you.
yeah.
Sorry, there's a
I
little delay.
mean, it's
Sorry, my internet.
insane.
Go ahead. Continue.
I know, I'm seeing you a little blurry, but I'm like, "You're still there." Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. We had started our podcast back in January, and so that whole I think we took our hiatus like sometime in August or something. So that whole 8 months, it was literally us documenting like we were party girls and like we would go out and we would do crazy things and then we started to get to know the Lord, and so then you would start to see that within our episodes, and literally some of our last episodes is like us bringing people on talking about God and like navigating how we were going to start talking about God in our podcast when before we would talk about getting blackout drunk on our podcast. And so it just felt very interesting. But at the same time, I've never wanted to erase my past because that's how I became to be saved. And so it was like that was always part of
The last thing I heard that you said was you kind of went on this journey. Like we both got baptized,
me.
and you
Mhm.
were saying how you took a hiatus from your podcast.
Yes. So we had started our podcast in December of 2024. And
Okay.
so that was really when we had started just getting back in or getting into our faith. And so these next couple of months, it was like we were, recording how we were going through this faith. And it was like interesting because we were having episodes of us getting like blackout drunk, and then we would go and 6 months later it was like we go to church every Sunday and we work out now, and like it was just being able to see like what the Lord had been doing in our lives. Like our whole habits and lifestyles had changed, and it was not only just we're religious now, or we're Christian now and we go to church. It was like we work out, we eat better, we want to do better for our bodies, like, and it was just such a amazing change because now ultimately I feel like the healthiest best version of myself. And although it's like I go to church and this and that, but it's like God has worked in my life in so many aspects. And if you can relate it back to like what happened with my dad and having cancer and stuff like that, it's like now I can really see that I want to be the healthiest version of myself for my family and for my future children, and whatever that looks like for me. So it's like God has just worked wonders in our lives, and I genuinely could not be more grateful, especially with tomorrow being Thanksgiving. I definitely want to give thanks to God.
Oh, well, and that's a beautiful. I love that you're being candid about how, if anyone is listening, it's okay to change.
100%.
It's, and,
I'm an advocate for that.
and it's okay. And it's not like, and I can totally relate to that because I used to be, oh gosh, I was like such a partier. Like, you
Hmm.
know, like blackout this and like, just like, and then I'm like, looking at it now, what I've learned about God, it's not like a shame thing. It's like a, hey, like, that's not good for you. I don't want you to treat yourself that way.
Right,
Then
right.
shame spiraling after. I
Hmm.
made this body. It's like a God wants you to treat yourself better. It's not like a, what are you doing? Like, stop blacking
Yeah.
out. It's like, that's not good for you. It's not safe for you. It's not, but like, he also, I feel like he understands and won't condemn you. He'll be like, thank you for coming to me. Like, how can I help you with this?
Yeah, in a very graceful, glorious
How can I help
approach.
you and not shame you into like feeling bad about that? Or like, he
Yeah.
almost said, hey, well, you're here now. So how can I
Yes.
help you moving forward? Sort of.
Exactly, exactly. And I feel the same way. I was saying before
Yeah.
uh we got cut off, like
Yeah.
I will never be ashamed of my past because at some point he was going to have to save me, or he wanted to save me, and he always had this plan for me. It's not like he just one day was like, at 26 years old we're going to save Myranda, and it's like no, like he knew at 26 he was going to save me, but I had to go through all of this from
Yes.
birth to 26 years old, and it's like I'm not ashamed of that. I don't ever want to erase my past. I also don't want to erase the mistakes that I make in the future because that's what makes me human and that's what makes me a child of God. But I think with the conviction that I know that God is real, I can always turn to him, repent, and just,
Yeah.
learn from my mistakes and move on. Not saying that I want to intentionally be sinning, but like
Oh, but we're
I
going
am
to.
human, exactly. So it is candid, and I encourage people who are listening to this, like, don't be afraid to like be human, in the midst of your faith journey. Like,
Yes.
that's why God's grace is so forgiving and so glorious, because we are going to make those mistakes and he knows that. But the greatest thing about him is he doesn't worry about it. He's not sitting there like, there's the mistake she made. It's like, come here, come back to me, and we'll get you right.
Yes. And oh, by the way, here's this manual called the Bible to guide
Yeah.
you. Oh, and I can't really be there physically, so I'm going to send this Holy Spirit, and you're going to feel it
Mhm.
overtaken by a time where you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's how you're going to know. And then you're going to have all these experiences that seem like not logical, but you're like, I know that happened, and you won't be able to rationalize it.
Mhm.
But you'd be like,
Yeah.
something shifted in the room. Did you feel that? And they're like, I felt it. You're like, okay, just got chills. What's going on?
The
Like that's
chills
for
is real.
me. Yeah. So you mentioned your journey and your past. And
Hmm.
I saw, I think it was when I was doing my research before our interview, um, uh, you had mentioned a reel, and I think you're performing, I think it was an Instagram reel where it was like, imagine that one high school bully, um, look at me now, sort of. And I literally was like, I can so relate to that. And I immediately thought of somebody, and I'm like, oh, yeah. It's funny how things. And so tell me, that seems like a form of adversity you might have gone through?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting story. So when I was auditioning for choir my sophomore year, I was, like I was saying, playing softball.
Yep.
So um that church that I had gone to when I was a kid and my mom would just force me to go. Ooh, wait,
That's
1 second. Sorry, someone was
okay.
calling me.
That's okay.
Um
Technical
let me
problems are allowed.
just say 1 second, I'll call you
Yeah,
back.
take your
It's
time.
Mason, my boss.
Tell him that I'm wearing the shirt, and
We're
we're
working right now. We're on the clock.
and we're not done yet.
Um, uh,
Just
but
wait.
anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, so that church that I had gone to, the pastor of the church was actually my softball coach. So
Okay.
I would go to church on Sundays, but I would have softball games on Saturdays,
Yeah,
and my
that feels
pastor
good.
would be my coach.
Yeah.
And so it was very interesting for me because I would see my pastor on the softball field yelling at me on Saturday mornings. And then I'd go to church Sunday morning and he'd be like, "Peace be with you, Miranda." And it's like, that was like really confusing to me because he would get like very, like, competitive coach like on Saturdays, but like I didn't really know how to identify like these different types of emotions from him. So then I'd go to church and I'd be like, "You're acting totally different." So it felt very fake to
Yeah.
me. So,
Yeah.
like, I was just confused, like, as a kid with no, like, frontal lobe development of, like, what, like, this is so weird. Like, you yell at me on Saturdays and then I go, and then Sundays you're like totally like God. And so I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that was like super confusing for me. Which is also one of the reasons why I felt like I was a little deterred from like religion, because that was my
Yeah.
foundation of what
For
religion
sure.
was. And so that my pastor, he had a daughter and the daughter was on our softball team, and so her and I were like relatively close because we would like see each other on Saturdays and go to church on Sundays, and we went to high school together. And so we would see each other. And so the day that I had gone to audition for show choir, I had to leave, or I had to get to softball practice later because I like went to the audition and then I was like, okay, let me run to practice afterward.
Yeah.
So I went, auditioned, ran to practice, and I got there late. Everybody was already practicing and stuff. And so I like go and I get there and everyone's like, "What were you late for?" Like, it was very like high school clicky. And I was like, "Oh, like I was auditioning for choir." and they were like, "Oh my god." And so they were just literally like laughing in my face, and so then they started like mocking me. Specifically like the pastor's daughter was like mocking me to my face, like singing like, horribly like in my face. And then I'd go to practice, and then she would always just like be like singing in my face, like mocking me and stuff like that. And that was ultimately the reason why I quit softball, because I feel like I probably could have done both, but like it was very clicky, and like I felt bullied by her because I was like, you're making fun of me for something that like I want to do. Like that's so weird. And so then after that it was just I never really like gave it much thought. I was just like, whatever. Like she's just a bitch. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
we
it,
all have that one. I can name
yeah.
it came to
And
my
but it just felt really weird to me because I was like, this is the pastor's daughter. Like she's supposed to be like a good girl. Like, like that's so mean and whatever. And so um I just thought it was crazy. Over the next couple years, I started to become really good at singing. And then, now I make music of my own and stuff. And it's like, she'll like my stuff. Like she'll like my stories. She'll like my post. And not too long ago, she was like DMing me, and
I'm like
I
mad right
really
now. Sorry, I'm like, no. Sorry, God, I'm trying, but I'm a little irritated.
Yeah, but I don't have like any bad blood towards her because at the end of it, she was also just a kid. Like, what did she know? But
And you are Christ's. That's a Jesus vibe right there.
Jesus thing, yeah. Um, I can't imagine what it was like also for her to grow up as a pastor's kid, so I can give her some grace in that sense as well. But I think it just built me up to if let's say things do work out and I make it to where I want to make it, Ariana Grande level, whatever. I'm gonna have so many pastors' daughters doing that to me, and so it's like it almost felt like it was just preparation. Like, not
Preparation.
everybody's gonna be happy for you. Not everybody's maybe they're jealous of you. That could be a form of jealousy that you're going to do what you want to do. And she's can't because she's, following what her parents want her to do or whatever it may be. So I've learned to like come to peace with it. I think for a little bit I like harbored it inside and didn't realize that like it was a problem. And then now that I'm
Yeah,
like playing shows and making music, I'm like, dude, yeah, like I did it. Like I can honestly be happy just with what we've done so far because it's like people recognize me as an artist. People recognize me as like a public figure, and so it's like I did it, bro. I'm
you
like I'm good.
have a vision in your mind. Like I can see you in your room being like, huh, and then being like, that was
Yeah.
really good. And then to look back on your journey, and then obviously people are a form of adversity, like their negativity. But what I love about that story is that you spun it into like the God's grace thing.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
you're like, but if I'm following the teachings of God, like I have to, we're called to forgive
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
hard as it is sometimes. And then you start to like see the humanity in everyone. And if
Mhm.
I sin, you sin at different ages, then we learn.
Mhm.
And really everything that it seems like when people project onto you that negativity, it's
Mhm.
because something in them, it triggers something in them that is
Absolutely.
unhealed. And you actually go, oh man, that's unhealed for you. I'm sorry. Like
Right. Like it was never about me.
it
Like
was
it was
never
never
about you.
it was
Oh,
never about me, but I just happened to be the target and the victim of it. But thank God that, I was given the strength to just be able to see it for what it was.
yes.
And I mean, it's all of those things. It's literally adventures in adversity. Like it makes you be and come out to be who you were always meant to be. So I can
Yes.
only be grateful for those
Yes.
instances. And like it could have been so much worse, but it's like it was just a girl mocking me,
Yeah.
her the fun of it all. And it's like
Yeah.
all of those girls that were on that softball team now look up to me. And I'm like, I
You're
can
like,
only laugh about it for real.
and you're like, good thing I'm nice because God's
Yeah,
with
you guys are lucky. You guys are really lucky.
I also played softball too.
Ooh.
What position were you?
I was outfield and
Uh,
then at the end of my seasons, I was playing catcher.
Oh, hard. That's so
Yeah, it
hard.
was hard. Honestly, I didn't even really love softball that much. Like, I'm not
No,
big with like the ball and the.
you're like, listen. You're like, I can do so many things. I'm gonna sing now. No,
Yeah.
I was first base, first and
Okay.
third.
Okay.
Um,
I played a little first and third here and
yeah.
there.
But you
Yeah.
know what's funny is like loved softball, but like since I was younger, kind of always had this dream of like broadcasty, newsy something. Little did I know it was gonna be like, you're gonna start your own podcast when you're 42 and after you like go through adversity and then like find God halfway through, and then it's gonna change
A
and be
little
God centered.
journalism.
But you don't know that yet.
Huh.
Because you have to go through
Wait.
some
Hmm.
stuff. It's gonna
Yeah.
hurt. It's gonna hurt, but it's actually gonna really ultimately shape, like I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that testimony in itself of like, I'm 42 and I get it now. And it's like I'm 27 and I'm like, when am I gonna get it? And it's like it could be another 20 something
And
years.
he like literally took, and it's so interesting how different people come to God at different times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they all have a story. Some
Hmm.
story where you're like, and it's always interesting because it's always interesting where you, and some people like, I don't know if you have an experience where you like, some people hear something, some people literally, and again, people can take this or leave it, but I have friends that my friend's husband sees angels, and I'm like,
Mm.
first I was like, what are you talking about? Like, hold on. I'm like, no, now I believe you. I believe you because I know them, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really amazing.
Yeah, that's insane.
I can't see that. I feel God through like downloads and like feelings
Yeah, yeah.
and like, but anyway, I'm just babbling about God.
Love
Uh,
him.
love God, and I know I'm keeping an eye on the time because I always babble with my guests, and I know we've touched on, and again, this is not the only adversity you've been through. Some bullying, right? I think a lot of people, parents listening, people listening, aunts, uncles, grandmas listening, know someone or they had themselves have been or are being bullied in
Hmm.
some way by maybe a frenemy, a coworker, who knows? Do you have
Hmm.
any, if you could go back, you got through it obviously, but if you could spend 1 hour with your 16-year-old self or 15-year-old self right after that happened,
Hmm.
what would you tell yourself?
Mm.
And take your time. Like if you just had like quick coffee break with your 16-year-old self
Yeah.
after that.
I would just say, like, it gets better. Like,
Oh,
it's going to get better. And I think in more ways unimaginable than you could have ever even predicted, imagined. Just keep going. Don't stop. I would give her a hug and
mm,
I would just tell her like you are loved. Like you are worthy, you are loved and just follow your dreams. Just do
mm.
the things that you want to do. I have a little sister. She's 13 and she there was a situation where she was getting
Oh,
bullied by a little girl and I was like, I'm not nope,
no,
I
no,
don't stand for it. I was like
no. You're like inner child and older sister reawakened here.
I was like, I'm not here for it. And so I like actually had a conversation with the little girl and I was like, you don't do that. Like you don't do that. I was like, if you don't want people to talk to you like that, you don't talk to people like that. And like I it almost felt like I was like talking to like my
Oh,
high school bully.
oh, I guarantee during it you're like, wow, this is a moment right now.
Yeah, and like my stepmom had to be like, you were a little and it's like, but I no, like I wasn't because it's like that is
They
not
need
okay.
that. They need it.
And a lot of the times,
They're not getting
these
it.
kids are coming from like, troubled homes or
Yeah,
like troubled situations, or they just don't get the things that they need as like kids, which is why they take it out on
of
other kids, which
course. Of course.
extremely sad, but it's like the kids that are getting it don't deserve it. And so, unless your parent is going to tell you that that's not okay, like somebody needs to. And
Yes.
I just think anybody that goes through any type of bullying or like whether you are, a young kid, an adult, because it happens
Oh,
literally
all the
anytime in your life.
time.
it's just like it's not like I think that's the phrase of it all is like it's never about you. Like
Never.
it's never about you. It's always about what they're going through and all you can do is just give them grace and pray on it and just ask that God heals whatever is causing them to act this way cuz it ain't God that's making them act that way.
No, it's never from God if it's confusing, condemning, manipulative, you know, up and down. Like when you're saying, like when someone's one way and they act another, I'm like, that's like God telling. It's just you got to use that discernment.
Mhm.
Things
Mhm.
off here, right? But
Yeah.
no, like I always feel too, like kids need to know, and if someone's not telling them, like, hey, I'll let you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, I had to let her know.
yeah. So there's been a theme of you facing things that while you were shaking, you did the audition.
Mhm.
While you were like facing adversity, like bullies in school. I think, and it seems like now you're going through something that I am also going through. This like identity shift of like
Mhm.
I feel called to lead everything I do, whether it's my software job, podcast, parenting, dog sitting, like through the lens of God.
Mhm.
And what
Mhm.
does that look like? And like, whoa, I don't really want to do that anymore, but like, I'm not shaming myself for it, but like,
Mhm.
we're changing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so it's beautiful. It's just like a beautiful message. I think that like God can come at any time. And I do want to tie this whole thing to what you're doing now, which is tell us about what you're excited about in your performance singing career, in your career with Divinity, in your role as like somebody talking about God. Like, tell me what you're excited about.
Honestly, I am and have been for these last couple weeks. I am excited to just be totally surrendered to God's plan. I don't know, and I think I've this has been my issue is I've tried to hold so much pressure for like what the future is going to look like, but at this point in time right now, I've really given myself to God's plan because I quit job that was paying me close to six figures a year to now work for this company that's a startup that there is no
There's
really
no,
no security in.
yeah, it's an adventure.
It really is,
Yeah.
but I fully believe in it. And I've really had to trust God's provision because now I'm like, I'm doing something that I really care about. And that very much feels like you put me here to be a leader and to show, these guys also like who God is. And like before I started working for Divinity, or when I first started working for
Yeah.
Divinity, we were never having conversations about God. And then a couple months in, one of them, Mason would start to ask about God. And then most recently, Cameron, which is the other founder, had started coming to church with us. And it's like now we all kind of sit here and we'll like pray before like big investor meetings and like we'll pray over just like the things that are happening. And so I feel like God is using me and I would rather him use me and put me through, I would rather have just as much money I need in my bank account to pay bills and get groceries than have six figures a year to, be used by him in order to show people who God is. And I think that's always been the purpose for me.
Mhm.
And I think with my music as well, like I'm not actively working on my music, but like I had mentioned before, God is not just going to let my talent go to waste. He loves when I use my talent. And I think that he has it all in a plan. And
Oh,
I'm ready for it whenever you want
oh,
to make something happen.
my mind is blown again right now. I just can't believe that I didn't know that the founders and you guys and like I love that like
Yeah. I mean,
God-
it's all been part of his plan.
God's like I'm gonna introduce him, but I'm not gonna tell him at first.
Yeah. I know. I was like, hey,
Like,
you want to be an ambassador? Like,
yeah, he's like I'm not gonna tell her that they love to talk about God. I'm gonna tell her about a month in. I'm gonna have
yeah.
Miranda come on, and then they're gonna have like this moment, and I'm like got me,
That's,
got
yeah.
me. You
That's
know,
what
like,
makes
it's
it so
fun. Like,
special.
yeah. Well, I feel like that is a great way to like to put a pause on our beginning of our many conversations. I think both as partners with Divinity, with as friends, as I love to say this now, as like sisters in Christ. You know, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that we're all brothers and sisters and like we can all like I just love the community of believers that you connect with all over the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
cool. It's really
It's
cool.
it's divine. It really
Right?
is.
It's divinity. It's
It's
divine. It's
divinity.
it's so good. I'm getting all the chills whenever I'm getting so many chills and it's like not cold in here. I'm like,
Yeah. I know I've gotten chills a lot
all
during
the
this
time,
podcast,
right?
so I know this was
This
all
was
divinely planned.
right before Thanksgiving. I am so thankful to have you. I'm so thankful Julian, Jack, Julio Iglesias, Julio, I call him all the things, producer dude, brought us together. I'm going to put all your information in the show notes, where to get Divini, delicious honey kombucha, sparkling tea in multiple flavors. We're going to talk all about that. We'll make some reels about it.
Yeah,
And
we're running a Black Friday sale starting Friday, ends Monday if you watch this podcast on Sunday. So you guys can go shop that. And then if you miss the Black Friday sale because you watch this later, you can always use Brienne's code.
oh, I'm sorry, Brienne 10. No.
Yeah.
You mean they can use my discount code Brienne 10 to buy Divini?
Yeah, and check out our new merch catalog. We have a whole bunch of new merch that just dropped.
Yeah.
So check it out, you guys.
Hey, I just accidentally wore this. No, I I love that we got a peek into more about honey kombucha tea with a mission with with founders that are like doing that soul searching and like it's just so much goodness. Like I love to support products that are just trying to make people in the world feel better, like
Yeah,
physically, mentally, spiritually, right?
I agree.
Oh,
I
so rad.
wholeheartedly agree.
Miranda, you're amazing. I can't wait to listen to more of your music.
Yay.
I can't wait one day when my dream is to have a 100 episode party and have a mix of Jack DJing and singers like you. I would love for you to
Yay.
perform at the
That'd
100
be
episode
so
party.
fun up there.
I've already had the party in my head. Like I can see it all. And this will be episode 69 on Sunday. So we're
Oh, wow.
31 away.
Okay, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm already
So
booked. I'm in.
be thinking about what you'd like to sing if you
Okay,
are available for hire. I'll check
perfect.
with your
I'll
agents and
start making the
people.
set list now.
Okay, amazing. And I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to sing. No, I'm going to ask because I mean, if you want to, you can sing us out. But if you don't, we can send people.
We need
See,
to make you a jingle. We need to make you a jingle.
yes.
We could be like Adventures in Adversity or something like
And the jingle was born.
that.
Jingle
So
was born.
Jack, take that and make it into something.
So you sing it really well, and then I go hee hee.
It's perfect. It's born.
I'm not that everyone can sing, right? I'm
Yeah.
not a recording artist. Let's just put it that way. So
Jack can help.
he can help. He can help. Well, Miranda, happy Thanksgiving a day early and sending love to Alabama. My husband's from Tennessee. I
Ooh,
love Southern people.
yeah.
Y'all
Proud.
are y'all are fixing, y'all are good people.
Amazing. Oh, well, thank you for having me. This has been such a treat. I'm like just feeling so full right now. So it's been the best pre-Thanksgiving little conversation.
Hey, thank you and tune in. I see I'm working on my closing here.
You got
Julian's like, work on it. Oh my gosh. Remember to like, subscribe, comment,
it. Hmm.
visit Divini, get your honey kombucha tea, visit Miranda's. Let's all just hang out. How about that? Lots of closer right there.
Perfect.